Hello and welcome to the normal release date for There's No A in Creemee. If you haven't noticed, we got a little ambitious this week and we dropped 3 episodes. Actually, it was 1 episode that we split into 3 smaller portions. So this will be the last part of that conversation. You don't have to have listened to parts 1 and 2 to follow along. But if you want to catch the whole conversation, slide a little bit down the feed and start with episode 1. But regardless of which part you start with, hope you had a great holiday week, and we hope you enjoy this episode. Okay, Vermont House. Are Democrats going to gain or lose how many seats?
Oh my God. Amazon not paying into the education system. And I feel like Jeff Bezos can afford it. And so I really feel like we need to start looking at a corporate wealth tax.
We are in a housing crisis. And the way the state of Vermont has identified our housing crisis is we need 30,000 homes by 2030.
Yep.
There are 65,000 homes out there that are being underutilized.
Based on next November's elections, The winner or loser will have to buy beer for that December's production meetings. And that will also mean we're still doing the podcast at that time.
Yeah, and we're still speaking to each other. Yeah.
That's a really good point.
All very unlikely. Hello, Vermont. I'm Andy Julo.
And I'm Joanna Grossman.
And this is There's No A in Creemee.
Vermont politics, culture, and beyond.
Thanks for joining us.
December 1st was not just the all-member meeting. It was also the day of the tax letter.
Yes.
I feel like there should be music for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like a drum roll.
Yep. That happens December 1st every year. It's a big day. There's all kinds of reports due on December 1st. That's some deadline that,
that was around. Also the task force and commission reports for that day too, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. So do you want to tell us a little about the tax letter?
Sure. I mean, it's at this point, it's starting with a prediction of a double-digit tax increase.
Yeah.
The legislature, at this point, you don't have any school budgets in, so it's an estimate. It can change pretty significantly throughout the legislative session. The legislature has the option of shifting money from reserves, raising revenue, putting cost containment measures on school board members to try to influence those school budgets.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some levers that could still be pulled. But at this point, it is starting high. It is a rollover from last year. The legislature and the governor agreed to basically take last year's tax increase and transfer it to this year.
Right.
Pretty much creating a double-digit tax increase. The actual increase in educational spending is only about 5.5%.
Yeah.
And it was 5.5%-ish last year. So rather than have that smooth experience, we have lumped it all into a year when we're all going to be going to the polls.
Yeah, it is wild. So last year they did a $118 million buy down, basically buying off 1 year, but we still have the increase that, basically rolled over to this year.
Yeah.
So we kicked the can and now we're really feeling the pain. And then there's this hypothetical possibility that the governor is talking about another buy down, a $75 million buy down, but that is just a big maybe thing that's out there.
They're fortunate they have that surplus from last year. If the education fund had not had a surplus, they'd really be out of luck. They wouldn't have that lever to play. But a buy down is one-time money, and whatever you buy down, you have to start in the hole for next year. So it's not a good long-term strategy.
Yeah.
If your party is proposing it, it's a great idea. If the other party is proposing it, it's a disaster.
Yeah, it's just not sustainable policy. I mean, like lower taxes is not a bad thing. And I mean, it's amazing that we found that much loose change in the couch cushions. Like, I'm definitely surprised about that.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you keep lowering the reserves and you don't have a year where you have a surplus in your ed fund, then you have to borrow.
Yeah. Yes. That would be bad.
Really, we've dumped the ed fund once, the reserves once, and we got lucky. If we do it again, we have to get lucky again. We have to get lucky every time.
Right.
Eventually, we're going to get burned.
Yeah. That's usually how luck goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Not for me, but
no,
yes.
Not for you, of course.
Hey, rainbows everywhere.
Rainbows everywhere, but more than 15 or more, not 10.
Right.
Yeah, just so we're clear
All
on
right.
that.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
I feel like I win either way, right?
Because if I win, you get more rainbows. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep.
Okay. Are we talking about like real rainbows in the sky? Are we talking about like if I paint my nails rainbow colored, do I get a rainbow for that?
No. It has to be a genuine rainbow in
All
the
right.
sky. If we get an Asana unicorn with a rainbow, that does not count.
Yeah. Okay.
Naturally occurring rainbows. The one that occurred on my muffin the
Yeah.
other day, that doesn't count. That's a prism.
That was a pretty extraordinary.
The sunlight was hitting the display case just perfectly, and that muffin was,
And wasn't it also called like the sunshine muffin?
yes.
That was so magical.
It's my life, Joanna.
I feel like that almost counts though, because like the prism effect, that was like kind of a naturally occurring.
It should, because it's even more unlikely to have a rainbow muffin.
It is.
Yeah, out there in the
on
wild.
a sunshine muffin.
All right. Are we counting? Well, that's not.
It's not. We're not starting until January 1st.
All right.
Yeah.
But if I come across another sunshine muffin with a rainbow across it, are we counting that?
If it's like a prism effect,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if I'm holding the prism? Does that disqualify it?
No, that's disqualifying.
All right. Good to know.
Are you gonna every time there's like rain and sun, you're gonna like run outside now?
Yeah,
I
probably.
can't picture
Probably.
you
This
doing
we're
that,
gonna have
no.
to append our rule book for the podcast. We haven't had to visit it in a while.
That's not in the like point sheet either. We might have to examine
All right.
that. Okay, so getting back to 73 and tax policy and revenue. So one of the big problems, okay, we've got two competing issues here, right? So we have big cost drivers in the education system, crazy rising healthcare costs, which don't just affect education. They affect real Vermonters in all kinds of ways. One of the ways they manifest is that they're driving up the cost of education. And so there's various, proposals out there to raise revenue, right? And one of them is taxing second homeowners. And so there's this really interesting thing happening where a piece of Act 73 was that we made new tax classifications so that we would be able potentially to tax second homeowners more, right? But that doesn't go into effect until a few other things happen. One of them is these maps, and one of them is that it wouldn't happen until 2017. And so there's been a lot of pressure on legislators.
2027?
You think it's 2027? Oh my God, it is. Where'd I get 2017?
I don't know.
All right, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have had to do another correction.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is you said 2017 in the voice memo you left me too.
Oh, I'm just a liar.
Do you have that written down, or you just like?
I
has
feel
your
like
mind
I
just
think someone might have
snapped
written
and
it.
you just like gone back in time?
I can see it in my head. Like someone, like I read it or
Mhm.
someone said it to me. And so there was a typo, whatever, somewhere, and I'm repeating it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's bad. I understand. I accept that. Okay. So Act 73 had this potential future second homeowners tax, and some legislators feel like they were pressured to support it because they were like, but we have to tax second homeowners. And to me, I feel like that's a little silly because they're legislators and they can still tax second homeowners regardless of what happens with Act 73. And actually, Senator Gulick, who was just on with us, has a bill exactly to that effect. I just talked a lot, but you can say something now.
Yeah, no, I can. Is it my turn to speak?
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it as a single issue bill, and we
Yeah.
could do that. And yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing we've gotten away from is a tax policy that is thinking through our needs as a state.
Yeah.
We have 51,000 second homes in the state of Vermont. We have somewhere between 11 and 16,000 short-term rental homes in the state of Vermont. We are in a housing crisis, and the way the state of Vermont has identified our housing crisis is we need 30,000 homes by 2030.
Yep.
There are 65,000 homes out there that are being underutilized. Not looking to push these people out, but you could certainly tilt the tables a little bit to encourage some of those folks to maybe make decisions that would open those homes up to more year-round occupancy, and that helps get us to that 30,000 goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of houses.
It is. And the latest projections I've seen is we're about 14 or 15 years from the curve bending. So we have a lot of demand for homes right now, but and not to be grim, but the boomers are going to start to die.
Yeah.
And we are going to start
or maybe they'll just go to a farm upstate.
That is also, or Florida. Or they go to Florida.
That's a very likely possibility.
That's actually very likely, yes. Yeah, and so we have had like this building craze. Let's build everywhere. That's one argument going on. Let's build everywhere, and some environmental groups saying, whoa. And the truth is probably somewhere in the middle there, is that when we build, we need to think about in 15 years when suddenly the demand drops, do we want to have a bunch of homes around that maybe we don't use? Or if those homes, if the demand drops and prices drop and suddenly those homes become in range for families and we have a lot more families and kids, that's valid too, because we'll probably curse ourselves for closing all our schools back in 2025. So yeah, we need to think carefully about how we create our next policy here.
I mean, that's one of my whole problems with Act 73 is if we're trying to create housing and, help people live in Vermont, closing schools is not the way to do that. Nobody wants, no family or young couple who wants to have kids wants to buy a house in a place where there's no school.
Yeah, I mean, we're reacting to the problem is that we've had declining enrollment, and let's tighten our belt and let's save some money instead of saying, well, why do we have declining enrollment?
Right.
Why are we losing families? Why are we losing kids? The more our kids get spread out, the more expensive it's going to be. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So we actually want more kids and families. It makes it more economical to get them to a building that is relatively close to them and get that, that classroom up to the right size to make it efficient.
Yeah. So another revenue proposal that is out there circulating in the ether is the wealth tax. And this is Representative Kornheiser's project, is that right?
So I've actually seen a couple of bill numbers on this. And yes, I think it's been Representative Kornheiser both times. It's gone on in other states as well. I'm not sure
many.
if it's been the same proposal proposed all around, but yes.
So ours is a 3% tax on adjusted gross income over $500,000 and a tax on unrealized gains of assets like stocks, bonds, and real estate for individuals with over $10 million in net worth. And to me, I feel like it's not that I want to raise taxes on anybody. I just think it really beats austerity cuts.
And from what I saw of the bills I traced, and it's hard to, because the bill numbers get transferred around and sometimes there's a companion bill, but they didn't go anywhere. Like they were referred to committee and never taken up. And maybe I missed one.
No, I think
but they certainly haven't passed.
Yeah.
Or been close to passing.
Yeah, I just feel like if the nightmare scenario plays out and we lose all kinds of federal funding and we're talking about cutting major programs or we can't pay for this or we can't pay for that, I would rather, at least in the near term, raise these kind of revenues than cut programs, I just think that's what Vermonters want. Like we like Vermont. We want to keep funding it. I don't know. I'd like to see where that goes. I mean, after September 11th, when New York City was really hurting financially, Mayor Bloomberg at the time made a pretty unpopular move. He made an 18.5% increase on real estate tax in New York City. And that was a big hike. These are very expensive properties. And, it went through and it raised a ton of revenue. And the thinking was, hey, the people who own skyscrapers in Manhattan are the people who can afford to pay to keep the city afloat. And it was totally the right move. And it was good policy. And it's like, yeah, I mean, not everybody probably nobody wants to pay more taxes. But I don't know. I would really rather we do that than start cutting important programs.
Well, I mean, possibly if that's enacted, a lot of people could pay less taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I was looking for in following those bills is, was there a JFO analysis? I couldn't find one, whether it had been done. Amanda mentioned when she was on, she seemed to have a revenue projection on what that would actually pull in and what it might be able to be used for. I think she figured you could hire physicians to be in every rural community and provide basic primary care.
She did talk about that.
Yeah.
Was that based on this proposal?
I think it was. It sounded similar.
Well, I've got to ask her about that. Do a little follow-up.
Yep.
So my other thing that I keep obsessing on lately, obviously, my job is to be fighting for Vermont retailers like Phoenix, right? And our biggest threat is these, I'm not talking about like Etsy, okay? I'm talking about like big, massive online retailers, wealth extractors that are pulling money out of Vermont and not giving us anything. And I feel like if we're talking about doing a wealth tax on wealthy Vermonters, how are we not talking about doing a corporate wealth tax and doing a dedicated corporate income tax on retailers like Amazon, who are bringing in like over $250 million a year, pulling that out of Vermont, and they're bypassing the education fund entirely. Like if you're a Phoenix or you're Kramer and Kin or you're Zero Gravity, you're paying property tax either directly if you own your building or to your landlord, who is still like going to be a relatively small business because they're in Vermont. And they're going to be paying into the education system. Amazon, not paying into the education system. And I feel like Jeff Bezos can afford it. And so I really feel like we need to start looking at a corporate wealth tax.
And let's remember that all these online retailers, including Amazon, were exempted from sales tax for a long period of time.
Oh, yeah.
We
Decades.
actually created a favorable tax policy to out-of-state retailers to allow them to crush Vermont businesses.
Yeah.
So they owe us.
They owe us.
They owe us.
And they can afford it. I mean, nobody can. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no argument here that he can't afford it.
He just had a wedding. It was expensive. He's probably going to have an ex-wife soon. You feel like we should cut him some slack?
Another one. Yeah. Yeah, real. So I just feel like there's a lot of opportunities out there that if our legislators get creative and reinvesting in our communities, it can be done. That's me being optimistic.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a way to end this podcast.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think our double scoop episode was a success.
Yeah. My beer's empty, so I think we're done.
Nice. Have a great week, everyone.
This episode of There's No A in Creemee has been sponsored by Phoenix Books. Every click has a cost. In the time it takes to hear this, Vermonters will send over $1,000 to Amazon, a company built on exploiting workers and squeezing small businesses. In times like these, our sponsor, Phoenix Books, wants to remind Vermonters to support Main Street over Wall Street this holiday season. Shop local. Shop your values.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode.
Thank you all for listening.
Follow us between episodes for the latest updates on our socials at There's No A in Creemee on Instagram, Substack, and Blue Sky.
And catch us on our next episode of There's No A in Creemee, Vermont Politics, Culture, and Beyond in Apple Podcasts and Spotify.